Adding more veggies to your diet is easy when you look to the Mediterranean way of cooking for inspiration. Chef Sherry Swanson is back with a recipe you're going to love. This is Greek food we're having today, right?
Yes, we're making Spanakopita, and the main ingredient is spinach. And I know all of us want to get more greens into our diet, and this really makes spinach delicious.
You always talk about a meatless Monday.
That's right. That's if you plan a meatless Monday every week, then you know at least one day you're not eating meat. And I always think when you're cooking with vegetables, honor them, make them delicious. So
that's what we're going to do, huh?
Absolutely.
All right, how do we get started?
So I have a little bit of butter, and I've sauteed some onion in there, and then we're going to add some scallion and some dill right here.
Oh, it smells good. It's going right in?
Yep. All of it goes right in. And then you can use either fresh or frozen spinach. We have some fresh right here, but there's nothing wrong with frozen vegetables. They're frozen at the peak of ripeness, so they have lots and lots of nutrition, sometimes more nutrition in the frozen than there is in the fresh. So this is just baby spinach, and I'm just going to saute it, and it'll.
And that's going to shrink up, isn't it? That's
Exactly.
typically what happens, right?
That's one of the reasons why it's kind of good to do frozen spinach, because you get more bang for your buck.
Okay.
So that's what I have here, and I have one little trick I wanted to show you.
Yes.
This is a ricer. It looks like a big
I didn't know
garlic press.
Yeah, that's true.
It's called a ricer, but it's made for mashed potatoes. So you cook your mashed potatoes and you put them in here, and when you squeeze it, you get little pieces that look like rice. That's why it's called a ricer. But I'm using it today to squeeze out all the excess moisture in our spinach. So we just squeeze it all out. That way we don't dumb down the flavors.
Okay.
We still have lots of flavor, and our casserole isn't too wet. So once we've got all of our spinach cooked down, we will add our feta cheese.
Okay.
So we're using feta cheese because it has kind of a sharp flavor. It's kind of salty, and that's really good when you're cooking greens to add something that's either sour or something salty, because it balances out the bitterness of the greens and makes them very delicious.
And did you have to cube up that feta? How does that come?
I did. I like to buy the large cubes of feta that have the brine around them, because the feta has more flavor and it's more moist. Once if they crumble it for you, it's kind of dry, so it doesn't taste as good.
That's a good tip, Sherry. I like that.
So now that we've sauteed our spinach a little bit, we're going to add that to the feta.
Is that going to melt a little, or
well, we're going to let it cool a little. If we have time, we let it cool a little bit first, because we don't want it to. And then I'll go ahead and add this spinach as well. And then I have one more tip. Because I'm from the South, so I always ate my greens with something a little bit spicy.
Where are you from in the South, Sherry?
Well, I'm from Florida. So
that counts. It's still South.
Exactly. But I was a third-generation Floridian, so we really cooked a lot of Southern food. So I'm using a little cayenne pepper.
That'll give it a kick, right?
Exactly. Not a lot, but just a little bit. So then we just mix everything up here. And the hardest part about Spanakopita is the phyllo. But it's not really hard.
Sometimes people are intimidated with this stuff.
They are. Don't worry if it cracks on you. What I like to do is keep it covered. And then you want to make sure it's completely defrosted before you try to use it. And
lots of layers here.
Exactly. We're going to start with a layer. We're going to brush some butter on it. And every once in a while, the phyllo is going to crack, but that's all right. We're going to put another layer on, so it'll be fine. Don't worry about that. So I like to have at least 5 layers. And I'm putting a little bit of butter, melted butter, in between each layer. If you don't want to use butter, you could certainly use olive oil. And that would be delicious. So see, some of the pieces, because we've been under the warm lights, have gotten a little bit dry. If your towel is damp, that will help. But you want to make sure it's not wet.
How are your cooking classes going, Sherry?
They're going great. Middlebury consignment, we have tons of different cooking classes. We have a few Valentine's classes that are coming up. I'm doing an all chocolate class.
Ooh, how fun.
We're doing a brunch class for Easter, because Easter's early this year. It's coming up. It's right around the corner. So
great.
Keeping busy there. And I'm also in the cafe, so I'm doing a lot of cooking.
We can find you there, huh?
Exactly. Almost every day.
Except when you're here on Connecticut Style.
Exactly. Okay, so I did most of my layers going this way. But I'm just going to do a couple going the other way. And I've cut my phyllo, if you've noticed, to the size of the pan.
Oh, now that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, that way it's easier to to work with. I'm going to do one more layer, and then I'm going to put all of the delicious.
It goes right on top there, and then I'm assuming you probably
That's
fold it over,
and then you
right?
fold over. That's all you have to do. So I just want to make sure this is all mixed up.
All right, Cher, we are just about out of time, but you're going to fill that in there. And how long does it bake for?
About 25-30 minutes until it's nice and golden brown on top.
Sounds great. We'll taste it at the end of the show. Thank you
Great.
for being here. And of course, you can find the recipe over at WTNH.com. Coming up next on Stage 8, Kimberly Wilson takes us on a journey to a special place, a time that history books sometimes forget. We'll be right back.